all of those girls were going to Northeast. And the girls basketball coach at Northeast at the time invested in myself and one of my teammates at a very early age, like fifth grade. We started spending quite a bit of time with him,
Uh-huh.
and he was just helping us shape our games, grow as people, kind of on and off the court. And so I really wanted to go to Northeast because he had made so many investments and deposits in my life.
Wow.
Um, and so yeah, Northeast was just always the choice for me because he was there.
That's
Um,
awesome. And was that close also to where you were living?
Yes,
Okay.
it was at the time. We actually had moved. My grandmother had passed away, and we moved into her house,
I see.
which was very close to Northeast. So it all kind of worked out perfectly.
Okay. Okay. So you choose to go to Northeast, and tell me, what was that freshman year of high school like when it came to basketball and kind of making the transition? Because of course, I'm sure by then, had you already started playing some summer ball and doing some club stuff?
Yep.
Okay. So tell me, what was that freshman year like for you?
Yeah, transparently, Dr. Chatters, my freshman year was kind of a blur. We went through a lot. Our point guard that year had gotten pregnant. She was a junior in high school
Mm-hmm.
and had a baby, and then my best friend's brother was involved in a almost double homicide.
Oh my
And
goodness.
so um it was a lot. We had really high expectations for ourselves as a team, but there were some kind of off the court distractions that kind of pulled us away from the goals that we had hoped to reach.
Uh-huh.
But then our high school decided to hire a new coach, which was also very challenging
Of
because
course.
all these girls chose to go to this school because of this one man who is no longer there.
I see.
And they brought in a new coach, and the next 3 years that I was there, we actually went 70-3.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
we went undefeated my sophomore year
Wow.
season of high school. We lost only one game my junior year, which was in the state finals the next year.
Right.
And then we lost in the state finals my senior year as
Oh
well.
my goodness.
So
So listen, and this is, for our listeners, it's always interesting. You hear people really talk through these difficult times that they have in their life, and they're expressing these challenging things. And Dominique just shared a number of challenging things that happened that freshman year. And I can tell that those things are still very much with her because, you can hear it in her voice as she talks about some of those challenging things. And the biggest thing to me that was striking about what you were just talking about was then at the end of all of that, you say this person that you decided to go to this high school to follow because they had already poured into you and,
yeah,
there were the connections, that person leaves.
yeah,
And then a new person comes in. And if you're in athletics, you recognize how disruptive a coaching change is. I mean, it's one of the most disruptive things that can happen to an athlete. And on the other side of it, though, you guys, I did not expect Dominique to say we went 70-3.
yeah,
I didn't expect that. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to take a while to bounce back, like what's going to happen? How's the story continue? And one thing I want to let you all know is that sometimes through all of that challenge and those major issues as you're going through that major turbulence, there's very, very smooth air on the other side.
absolutely.
And you have to go through that turbulence to get to the smooth air, right?
Absolutely.
And so talk to us a little bit about, first of all, I mean, again, very turbulent year. During that time frame and kind of transitioning into the new coach, did you ever think about the possibility of not playing basketball?
No, I don't think that
You were
was an
committed.
option for me.
Okay.
I grew up in a single parent household, but one thing that my mom always instilled in us was once you start something, you have to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always my mindset. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about my high school coach who I finished the last 3 seasons with. He was an older gentleman who actually went to Northeast High School, graduated from there, came back actually because his wife had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Oh, I see.
And so he moved back to Lincoln because she got into a nursing home here, and she lived with Lou Gehrig's disease for 30 plus years.
Oh my
And
goodness.
he is the most committed, dedicated man I've ever met in my life.
Wow.
He loved on our team and through all of our difficult situations that we were going through. And honestly, like you said, after the turbulence, there was so much smooth air, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to us. as
Wow.
young people. So
Wow. And it's okay to shout out that coach. What's that coach's name?
his name's Rich Olson.
Rich Olson. Okay. So for all the Northeast Rockets out there, what did Mr. Olson teach at
He taught
Northeast?
math.
He taught math. Okay. So everybody that was taking math would have had probably Mr. Olson at some point, right? During
Yep.
their journey. And to hear that about him and him taking care of his wife and the difficulty of caretaking,
Yeah.
as I think some of us, as we get a little older and have to start doing that work with our parents, we recognize it's not easy, right? It's not
Right.
easy to have to be consistently thinking about someone else who at some point was consistently thinking about you in our parents' regard, right?
Yep.
But so you're getting through this high school thing and you're just absolutely, by the way, I mean, Dominique is probably, and I haven't looked at the statistics, but I can kind of make some inferences here. She's likely one of the most dominant high school basketball players to ever have played in Nebraska, in the state. And I like I said, I haven't looked into that. I'm just going to make that assumption. And I'll have to look it up here. And if you're listening and you're a Googler, I want you to get on there and look up her name and just see how proficient she was as a player in high school and how she was dominant. And when I say that, I'm just, like I said, I'm just making some assumptions here because I've been around her and I recognize how much of a competitor she is. And so, but anyways, I'm just putting that out there and I'll do the research after myself too. But when did you know, Dominique, that basketball was going to be an opportunity for you at the next level? When did you know? When did you kind of start realizing, hey, something here is going really well and I'm just excelling comparative to my peers in these games and everything else?
I think probably my sophomore year of high school. My freshman year, we beat a lot of teams that we probably had no business beating through all the obstacles and challenges we were facing. But probably my sophomore year of high school is when things kind of took a corner for me. I got an offer from the University of Iowa as a freshman.
Okay.
And realized kind of probably that summer in between my freshman and sophomore year that I had a chance to play at the next level.
Wow. So now the coach from Iowa just recently retired, right?
Yep.
Was it Lisa Bluter? Is that
Yep.
who it was? So you would have gotten an offer from her
Yes.
back then. So to everyone listening, the same person who would have essentially discovered one of the more famous in this day and age basketball players, Caitlin Clark, right?
Yep.
She was on to Dominique her sophomore year of high school. Just so you all, I mean, I just want you to be connecting the dots out there. And this is where, again, you get this offer. And what did that mean to you and your family in that moment? And tell me, were there any other family members at the time who had, gone to college on an athletic scholarship, or just maybe give us a little more pedigree from a perspective of education within your family? Were there other folks who had gone to college and gotten degrees and everything else? Were you first, tell me about that.
Yeah, no. So I was the first person in my family to earn a college degree. The offer meant a lot to my family, my mom and myself, especially because it showed that I was going to have an opportunity to change my life trajectory.
Yes.
And I knew that education was kind of always the key to that. My mom, even though she didn't go to college, she always talked to us about college.
Yes.
So we always knew that it was an expectation for us. We never thought of it as something like we might not be able to obtain, but we knew that that was the expectation for us. And so that first offer kind of opened that window of possibility for me and showed me a realm of what I could do and what could be achieved. So it meant a lot.
Wow. And, when you think about the fact that if you're going to play at that next level and that the financial side of things, which, by the way, regardless of if you get a scholarship or not, people have to recognize that athletes that come from, challenging backgrounds still have issues, right? When they get on to college. And back then, you guys, this is not that NIL era where people are getting additional funds and everything. This is, okay, so you're here and you get an education and a document as you leave here and a wonderful experience. And that's what you're getting, right? So this is just a different era. And so for you to have that offer and, and a great institution,
Yep.
it was likely a big moment for you. And so then talk to us about how those additional offers started to come in and how things started to get competitive for you and your talents.
Yeah, once you kind of get one, I feel like somebody gives you the stamp of approval, then they kind of start rolling in. And Nebraska was shortly thereafter. Connie, my coach at Nebraska, tells everybody all the time that she never recruited a player harder than she recruited me.
Wow.
And I made her work really hard for it. They followed me around for 4 years. She attended almost every single game that I played in throughout my high school career. So I'm super grateful for that as well, and the commitment that she made to my life. But I actually really wanted to go to the University of Colorado.
Oh my goodness.
As you kind of mentioned, there were a lot of challenges that I faced and endured. I had a father who was in prison at the time, and I really just wanted to get away and kind of write my own story and not have to live in Lincoln and be worried about all my siblings and all those things. But when it really boiled down to things for me, the opportunities that Nebraska afforded me were just next to none in the country, and so it made sense for me to stay home.
Excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are just absolutely blessed to have Dominique Kelly Johnson on our show today, and we are going to be right back after this with more from her. And so keep on listening. You're on 93.7 The Ticket, The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters and Dominique Kelly Johnson.
A fall aeration by Judson Irrigation will help maintain your lawn by maximizing the effectiveness of your watering and fertilization. Judson will flag the locations of your sprinkler heads, followed by a deep core aeration to give your lawn the breath of fresh air it needs. Schedule your aeration today. Your lawn will love you for it.
Let us aerate today to ensure a healthy head start for your lawn next spring. Go to judsonirrigation.com or call Judson Bylene 402-420-6277.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Load up on meat and more this fall at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This week's specials through September 9th are 15% off produce, $1 off all drinks, and 8-ounce grass-fed, grass-finished flat iron steaks for $12.99 each. Plus, stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
No cravings, no hunger pains, no struggle. Thanks to GLP-1s from Limitless Mail, weight loss is possible. Picture this. Your clothes fit better, your energy's up, your doctor's impressed, and your friends start noticing. Limitless Mail's GLP-1 program is medically monitored and changing men's lives. There's no better time than now to get on board. Lose the weight, better your health, gain your confidence without being hungry. Free consult at limitlessmail.com.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
Need a tractor that works as hard as you do? Whether you're baling hay or feeding cattle, a John Deere 6M or 6R from Landmark Implement is built to handle it all. And right now, you can get 0% fixed rate financing for up to 72 months on new in-stock models. That's 6 years with zero interest on the tractor your operation depends on. Hurry into your local Landmark Implement or visit landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Hi, this is Tom Osborne. Join me on September 23rd and dine at your favorite local Renza in support of Teammates Mentoring. 10% of Renza sales on September 23rd will benefit your local Teammates Mentoring chapter. Teammates Mentoring helps students reach their full potential by providing a caring adult mentor to meet with them once a week in school. Thank you for your support of Teammates Mentoring. We will see you at Runza on September 23rd.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball. Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're back on the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters, 93.7 The Ticket. And again, we are just so honored to have Dominique Kelly Johnson here in the studio. And before the break, she was talking to us about getting recruited to Nebraska and Connie Yori, just the persistence and the overdrive it took for her to convince Dominique eventually that she was going to stay here in Nebraska. And, you know, I understand what you're saying about getting away from where you grow up and where you start and a new start and this possibility that where you go, you can be someone different and you can change things. You can kind of go there and you can just, you know, start over and you don't have to worry about someone always calling you or getting pulled back into the family drama, which foreshadowing here again, guys, as we move later on down this journey with Dominique, she's going to talk to you about what she saw as a coach. And I think that's going to be another opportunity for us to hear about how you don't only coach a child or a student athlete, you coach essentially, and you get a chance to interact with their family in many ways, especially when sometimes there's additional challenges that are happening in the household and in the community. And so, but she at that time was trying to redefine and move on from Lincoln, but she ends up staying right here in the state capitol and committing to the Huskers. When did you commit to the Huskers?
I committed right before my senior year started. So I drug it out all the way down to the wire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. What was that like? Take me back to, and, you know, I'm not sure it was like it is now, you all, where there's a YouTube video and there's 3 hats sitting in front of you and you're going to make a decision and, you know, where's she going to go? But did you have any of that flair when you made your decision? And was it kind of a question, or going in, did you know?
No, I really, really, really wanted to go to the University of Colorado. I fell in love with the coaching staff. But my high school coach just really pointed out all the variables and just kept showing me how Nebraska should be the front runner for so many reasons, not just for like playing time and what I'd be afforded on the court, but just like the commitment that Nebraska was making to student athletes off the court as well. And so, like I said, I was going to have the opportunity to get on the floor right away at Nebraska. People kind of spun it into a positive and showed me how staying home could be really impactful for my family and for myself even. And just the success in academics and success in life that student athletes had here was, like I said, second to none in the country. So
excellent.
It just made a lot of sense for me to stay here. But no, it was just a very intimate moment between Coach Yori's staff and myself. I just walked in there and I had a little black bag. I'll never forget it. And I set it on the table, and in it was a T-shirt. And I put my last name and number on the back of the T-shirt, and it was a Husker shirt. And so it was a really great day. I'll never forget it.
That's amazing. Thank you for taking us back to that moment, and really talking about the importance of how at the time someone who meant a lot to you, who had been demonstrating to you in your coach that they cared about you, helped you see past some of the things that sometimes we experience when we're young, which is we don't think all the way through things sometimes, right?
Yep.
We don't necessarily think long term. We're kind of more focused on that short term. And I think your coach really knew, for a number of different reasons, that the support here was second to none, as you mentioned, that you were going to get so many different things that you needed. And despite the fact that you would still be here in Lincoln and around some of the things that you wanted to escape, essentially, that this was still the best place for you.
Yep.
And so, but I couldn't imagine what that moment must have been like for Coach Uri and staff to open that bag up and pull that shirt out and see your name on the back of that shirt. And did it have the number on it that you would eventually wear at Nebraska?
Yep, it did.
Which is
24.
24. And, before the break, I was just kind of making some very, presumptive statements about Dominique being one of the best scoring, basketball players in state history. And our producer was very kind to do some research and presented that during her, I believe it was junior year. Was it the junior year that you nearly beat the state record, or was that your senior year?
That was my
That was your senior year. So her senior year was 15 points short of breaking the Class A points record. And so, I'd say that my assumptions were correct, but that's just the vibes that I get from Dominique, because she's just such a calmly strong person. And, I figured that there was probably something out there like that. But so you choose Nebraska, and talk to me about, because we never really hear about this part. And I'm about to ask you a kind of a challenging question here, but what was it like to let go of the dream of leaving Lincoln and going out of state? What was that like for you? Because you committed here. And again, sometimes we have some buyer's remorse, right? When we finally make a decision. What was that like for you to let go of that?
Honestly, I never looked back.
Okay. All right.
It was a really smooth transition for me.
Excellent.
I committed and kind of never looked back. I never for a moment, even throughout all the obstacles, and I had lots of hard times during the 4 years I played for the Huskers, both on and off the court, but I never wished that I was anyplace else except for Nebraska.
Wow.
And my coaching staff helped me work through those really challenging times. So
excellent.
I'm super grateful.
You had good support, and so there wasn't any questioning
Nope.
of whether or not you were in the right place. You realized that this was the best place for you. And so you get into college, and, honestly, I know for student athletes, that freshman year, that transitional year, once again, right, can be a challenging year. And as we think back in Dominique's story, remember that freshman year of high school was very difficult. There were a lot of things that were happening around her that really shaped her in that year and kind of started to build up that resilience and create for her, that follow through opportunity that she needed, that she had to question, okay, is this still something I want to do? She said she never questioned it. She continued to want to play basketball despite that coaching change freshman year of high school. Freshman year of college, tell us about it. What was it like?
Yeah, transparently, I excelled on the court. I played a lot. I started every game as a freshman. I excelled in the weight room, so that kind of gave me an edge. I was a lot stronger and bigger than my teammates who were the same age as me. So that gave me an opportunity to get on the court right away. And defense was a huge part of the role that I embodied that year.
I see.
But transparently, I struggled a little bit academically and just balancing all the things that being a student athlete at the Division I level kind of entail.
Yes.
I had a hard time prioritizing my academics sometimes. And so that was something that I had to work through and learn how to navigate.
So, for other folks that you make that transition that freshman year as a student athlete on the court, everything is going well. You're getting a lot of, accolades, different things like that, I'm sure, at the time. And tell me, what year was your freshman year? What would it have been?
2007.
2007. Okay. So we're still in the Big 12 at that time.
In the Big 12.
And so, again, lots of excelling on the court and doing really well there. But then in the classroom, there's some challenges, and I know Dennis LeBlanc and his crew over there, right?
I know Dennis too.
Yeah, no, I'm saying I know you know Dennis. I'm just saying I know Dennis and his
I
squad
got
were
to know
trying
Dennis a little too well my freshman year.
and I'm sure there were some conversations. He'd sit down and he'd just say, and I know that the support that they have at Nebraska is amazing, and so I know there were study halls and all those things, right, to try to kind of get things moving in that direction. Talk to me about how did you kind of get through that adversity from that academic perspective that freshman year? How'd you get through that to a point where you did start to prioritize your academics? What did it take?
Well, I think the first thing is like you just have to admit that you need help.
Yes.
And that was something that I had to like grow into, and kind of I had to be able to acknowledge that, number one, like I said, and then two, accept the help that was being offered to me and not be prideful.
I see.
That was probably the biggest thing. Once I got kind of over that hurdle and stopped feeling like, I don't know, like frowning upon myself for needing these additional resources.
Yes.
Things kind of took off for me, and I kind of never looked back, but it was quite a period of transition for me for a while.
I really appreciate you bringing up those 2 points. So first of all, you have to admit that there's an issue to yourself and in many different respects to other people, so that those people who are supporting you, who are looking in and maybe again, and we deal with this with our children sometimes, looking in and thinking that you have it figured out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to say to them, I actually don't have it figured out. I'm really struggling over here. Right.
Yep.
And I need support. And then once the support comes, you have to open yourself up to it and you have to accept it, because, that's a really important thing. And I think, honestly, that even applies to us now later in life, right? Where we are struggling as executives or wherever you're at in your organization. First of all, you have to admit that there's some shortcomings that you might have, or that there's some areas that you need to potentially improve. And then you have to accept the help, right? And so some things change, some things stay the same. So you accept the help. And again, like other things I've recognized over the course of your life, you don't look back. You just confidently go into that direction. And so once the academic piece kind of falls in place, and it never falls in place because it's a lot of hard work and time and effort and lots of hours, and this is you on the road. And back then, so Big 12 days, you all, so the map wasn't as big as far as where you all had to go, right? So you're not necessarily having to get on a charter plane very often, but you're probably on a charter bus, right? You guys are going to Ames, you're going to Lawrence, you're going to Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
You're going down to Colorado too, right? And so tell us a little bit about what that was like for you, just the shift of moving from, clearly high school was high school and you're extremely dominant, but now you're playing in Division I, Big 12. What was it like for you, just that shift of the game and the speed of the game change, and then having to travel and do all the rest of the stuff and lifting and class and everything else? What was that?
Yeah,
like?
honestly, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't kind of talk about the pressure that I felt of being a local kid and kind of what you're talking about, just being pulled in so many different areas and trying to manage the basketball piece, the academic piece, making sure that I'm still spending time with my family and doing all the things that the community wanted me to do as well.
Yes.
And so it took a lot of practice to learn how to manage all of that as well. And me needing to lean on resources and check in with my sports psychologist and just all the things that kind of help mold me into the person that I am today. But I had to learn how to say no.
I see.
And,
Okay.
And that was a skill that I did not practice. Sometimes still to this day, I don't practice that skill very well. But just to like manage my time and make sure that I was making sure that I was being taken care of as well.
I see. And so that's a really important point that you bring up here, that there was pressure on you locally. And that pressure was multifaceted, but clearly being a Nebraska young woman playing basketball here, there was a significant amount of pride placed in that from a lot of people across the state. And clearly, you're representing Lincoln Northeast and you're representing your community. Another dimension, you're representing young Black women at that time in this area, right? And when we think about that, we kind of have to ask ourselves the question, what other young Black women were coming out of Lincoln, Nebraska and playing Division I basketball at the time?
Yeah, there weren't a lot. There was a girl who graduated 2 years after me who went on to play at Purdue.
Mhm.
But man, Lawrence, I can't think of
Yeah.
a ton of girls that came out of here.
That's right. And it's one of the first times that it's really kind of hit me that way, that again, as we think about, representation
Yep.
and how much representation matters, and how if we see someone, perhaps we might see that person and see some of the characteristics that are similar to ours, and we might aspire to do what they do, because maybe at its purest level, they remind us of ourselves.
Yep.
And in your journey, which is a question I didn't get a chance to ask you, but who were you looking up to that was really that aspirational figure that, you're like, gosh, I can see myself in that person. I see that person's perhaps playing college ball, or, WNBA isn't even around yet, right?
It's around, but not to the extent
it is now,
yes.
right? So, you have some of these greats from back then, Cheryl Swoops and some of the greats in WNBA that were, making waves back then, but it was still growing. It was still developing. Who were some of your role models in that regard when it came to that?
Actually, there was a member of the women's volleyball team at Nebraska. Her name was Jen Salimua. I got to meet her on one of my recruiting trips. She was also a first generation college student, and she and I just hit it off really well and connected.
Yeah.
And she was somebody that I reached out to a lot during my time at Nebraska.
Wow, that's excellent. And so you ended up being in the department at the same time as she was then?
No, actually,
okay.
we weren't.
Okay,
weren't.
gotcha,
Yep.
gotcha.
She was
Okay.
about 4 or 5 years older than me, I think.
I
So,
see.
yep.
Okay. So you never got a chance to cross paths, but she was definitely someone who meant a lot to you back then, and someone who continued to support you through the process. Ladies and gentlemen, we're hearing from Dominique Kelly Johnson today. Just absolutely wonderful jewels she's dropping on us today. And so we'll be right back after this break. But yeah, we keep hearing some great things today, and I look forward to being back with you here soon. Thanks.
The party is back on in Lincoln this fall, and there's no party like the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the whole ticket crew for 2.5 hours of pregame coverage before every home and away game this football season as they get you ready for the game. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show at our downtown studio at 11th and O. Sponsored by Select Plumbing, Raising Cane's, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Currency, and the Kindler Hotel.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first. Now is the time to get a glimpse into living and learning at Doane University through a personalized in-person or virtual visit. We know once you experience Doane, you'll see why it's a place where you can achieve your goals and shape your future. Schedule your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Hungry for something real? Come to HF Crave, Lincoln's favorite spot for burgers that are anything but basic. Locally sourced Nebraska beef, hand-cut fries, and bold flavors that'll make your taste buds cheer. Whether you're craving the classics or ready to try something wild, they've got the burger that gets you. HF Crave. Fresh, local, craveable. Find them at 48th and Holdridge or order online at hfcrave.com.
Now back to the Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Law of Lift here on 93.7 The Ticket, and I have an amazing guest in the studio with me today, and you're just hearing some absolute jewels from Dominique Kelly-Johnson. And, you know, we were just recently kind of talking a little bit about that transition from, that freshman year of college as she continued to move through her journey in college. And we're talking about some people who she saw as her role models. And so, Dominique, walk us through the rest of your collegiate career and some of the highlights of your collegiate career as you remember them, and some things that are still, kind of sticking with you at this point.
Yeah. So we went to the NCAA tournament 3 years that I was at Nebraska. My junior year, we went 32-2, and we were the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. So that's kind of the really decorated year that my team had. It was crazy to sell out. Back then, it was the Devaney Center. So we were selling out every single game in the Devaney Center. We made it to the Sweet 16 and were upset by Kentucky. But all in all, I had an amazing experience. I actually got hurt my senior year. So I kind of was super high, and then I've lived the lows of lows as well. And my career actually ended about 13 games into my senior campaign. So, but all of the experiences I've had with basketball have kind of shaped and molded me into the person that I am today. And even with the injury, I don't regret, honestly, a single moment of any of it. It all transformed and came about the way that it was exactly supposed to. So
wow, what great perspective you have on that, and just acknowledging this really, really high point of that 32, you said, and
32-2. We won 30 straight games, I think, that year.
And I remember that year, and I was following you all back then, and the energy that you all were playing with, and just the dominance that you demonstrated that year, were just absolutely amazing. And I can remember, I have 2 daughters, and I would bring them to the games, and it would just be so exciting to see the Devaney full and just be absolutely rocking and enjoying all of this good, positive, solid energy that was going into our women's basketball program here. And, more recently, there's been a lot of energy around women's sports in general, right? Yeah. The last few years, it's really, it's just evolved. And what I would say is that the rest of the country and the rest of people are starting to or recognize what we've recognized. Some of us have recognized for such a long time, right? Yeah. It's like, it is exciting, right? Like, it's exciting when you get to see people compete in general. But, again, I think that it's just interesting how things happen in waves, and then all of a sudden it's a thing. And, and so, but honestly, you all back then, Nebraska was just so dominant that season that you all were just bringing new people to the sport. people that just wanted to feel what it felt like to win. And, it was amazing. And so during your time, did they make the shift to the Big Ten, or would that have been your senior year? Or?
Yep. So my senior year was the last year we played in the Big 12.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I thought. And so, and then things change. And, it's just interesting how some of those, the conference realignments and some of those other external things that kind of define who your competitive set is and everything else shift. And then now all of a sudden it's a whole new group of people, to recruit and everything else. And so talk to us a little bit as you think back now to that senior season and the injury and realizing that your career was, coming to an end. Talk to me a little bit about how you persisted through that and continued moving forward from that point.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging. I was someone who felt like I had put in my time the 3 years prior to that and had been a good teammate and kind of embraced my role every single year that I was on the team. And it was kind of my senior year to shine, and to have that kind of cut short rocked my world a little bit. But
yeah,
I just had so many people around me who put things into perspective for me, and I was engaged already at the time, so I was kind of looking forward to being married and starting my life with my husband.
Okay.
But I had teammates, who'd been injured 2 and 3 years in, who really didn't get to play much at all. And so just watching them kind of maneuver through their injuries and their time at Nebraska, like I said, really kind of put things into perspective for me. And it kind of forced me to kind of consider what was next for me outside of basketball. And that was more basketball for a while. And I was super grateful for that.
Excellent. And so, we will go ahead and wrap things up for this hour, but we've just absolutely been enjoying this time with Dominique Kelly-Johnson, and we'll be right back after this break. You're on 93.7 The Ticket. It's The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters.
A fall aeration by Judson Irrigation will help maintain your lawn by maximizing the effectiveness of your watering and fertilization. Judson will flag the locations of your sprinkler heads, followed by a deep core aeration to give your lawn the breath of fresh air it needs. Schedule your aeration today. Your lawn will love you for it.
Let us aerate today to ensure a healthy head start for your lawn next spring. Go to judsonirrigation.com or call Judson Bylene 402-420-6277.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
There's a career for people with drive. Your state, your troopers. The Nebraska State Patrol is now hiring troopers. In every corner of the state, in numerous ways, Nebraska troopers are driven to keep our state safe. Visit nebraskatroopers.com to get details on the benefits, the opportunities, and a career you get to define. Accelerate your career as a Nebraska trooper. Apply today at nebraskatroopers.com.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has expanded strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today. We're raising the bar with these benches, and our hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all the best-in-class equipment we've always had. There's no better time to get stronger. So join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month.
Find your nearest club and join today. Deal ends September 12th.
See Home Club for details.
Experience an electric vehicle firsthand at LES's EV Ride and Drive, September 28th at the LES Operations Center. Registration is open now, but spots are limited. Visit les.com/drive to reserve your drive.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. Real stories, powerful insights, and weekly inspiration to help you rise above life's challenges. Let's lift off with Dr. Lawrence Chatters on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to The Law of Lift with Dr. Lawrence Chatters. We have Dominique Kelly Johnson in the studio with us today. And we've heard so many amazing things from her about her journey and about the things that really, shook her up over the course of her time. And, so far, just to recap a bit, we heard a little bit about that freshman year of high school. We heard a little bit about that freshman year of college when, there was an imbalance in priorities. Basketball was going great, but the academics were struggling a bit. She had to humble herself. She had to ask for help and receive that help. And now we just recently heard about that senior year where you're coming off a Sweet 16 appearance, and then all of a sudden there's a significant injury and things come to a pretty abrupt end when it comes to basketball. And at the same time, though, we just heard for the first time about this engagement, right? And then so now you're looking to the future, and there's some other really unique opportunities that are on the horizon. And so transition us, if you can, from your collegiate career into the professional world. What was that like for you to finally get to that point where perhaps basketball is starting to kind of become put on the back burner for a short period of time. But you said that it continued to play a role in your life. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I always knew from a really young age that I wanted to be a coach. And so that was something that I had talked to my collegiate coach a lot about. And actually, I needed to take one last class as a senior. So I actually coached at Doane University while I was wrapping up my undergraduate degree at Nebraska, and was a graduate assistant there for a year, and then came back to Nebraska and was the graduate assistant for 2 years for women's basketball.
Wow.
So I stayed really connected to the game, really connected to Nebraska athletics. And it was just an amazing time. I was able to get my master's degree for free.
Excellent.
Which also continued to help me change my life trajectory.
Yes.
And yeah, that's kind of what I ended up doing the next 3 years after I graduated from Nebraska.
Okay, so give us that graduation year. What was that year?
2012.
2012. So you graduate. Now Nebraska's in the Big Ten. You coach at Doane.
Yep.
And talk to me about, and this is kind of a funny description, but I think people will understand it. So, you go down to Disney World and you have a great time. Have you been down to Disney World with your family?
I haven't yet.
You haven't? Okay, well, you have to, right? It's just one of those things that you do. So you're going to take your kids down there and they're going to have a wonderful time. Now, if you work at Disney, it's a totally different experience.
Yep.
Right? Totally different experience. Like literally after certain hours, the characters take their heads off, right? Yep. And they're different people. They're normal people under there, and they start to tell stories about how that person kept pulling on their leg or whatever, right? I mean, so what is it like to be on the other side of the amusement park as a coach comparative to being a player?
Yeah, well, it was different. There were so many differences. First of all, in how we traveled. I went from, like you said, kind of charter flights to like actually driving a 12-passenger van and transporting girls to games across the state. So that was different. But also I was very young. I was still very close in age to the players that I was coaching. So I had to kind of learn that dynamic and, like how to be true to a coaching staff and how to just balance kind of those expectations. It took me a little bit of time to figure that out as well. But I had an incredible experience at Doane. And my time at Nebraska was the same way. I wouldn't have traded that time for any other time.
So the years that you're here at Nebraska, which coaching staff are you a GA for?
Still Connie.
Still
York.
Connie.
She's still at Nebraska. Then.
Okay. So you're still coaching with her. And what was that like to come back to this level, Division I again, as a GA? And I just want you to really talk to me about finding your place. And when I say that, I mean, as an athlete, and honestly, what you recognize clearly pretty quickly when you were at Doane is that at Nebraska, as an athlete, you all pretty much had everything that you needed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, somebody's putting your clothes back in the locker on a daily basis, and they've washed them, right? Yep. And so this is a different experience. And then you're going down to the training table, someone's serving up your food, and everywhere you go, it's like you're an actor, an actress, right? Like everything's ready for you, right? Like hey, this is the uniform we're wearing today. These are the socks. They're brand new. Here's some shoes. Right? I mean, it's just crazy, right?
Yeah.
So what is it like to come back as a GA and then kind of step into that server role, right? Doing some of those things perhaps within the coaching staff and having to be, see things kind of from the ground up. What was that like for you?
Yeah, my time at Nebraska as a GA was really eye-opening. I had no idea that our coaches kind of exuded and spent that much time doing the different things that go into being a collegiate coach at that level.
Yes.
Everything from scouting to recruiting to helping us get prepared for a game, like just all the preparation and attention to detail that went into every single scout.
Yes.
And every single day was crazy. It really opened my eyes and honestly made me kind of reconsider if that was the career path that I wanted to go down, because they sacrificed so much to put us in situations to be successful.
Yes. And so you're quickly realizing that when it comes to the decisions that you have to make, and it you're considering your future, whether that be a family and different things like that, right?
Yeah,
You're starting
absolutely.
to quickly realize that it's going to be hard for some of those things to coexist.
Yep.
Right. And so, what perspective did that give you once you saw the other side of it, how much time and effort and preparation went into being a coach, and here you had played at that level and you didn't realize it while you're going through it because you show up for practice and you do your thing. But how did that change perhaps just your feeling about what you had experienced as a player, and how did that also start to shape how you started to see the current players in their experiencing what you did as a player?
Yeah. I think it made me respect the game a little bit more, honestly.
I see.
It
Okay.
made me want to give back to the game.
Yes.
Like I said, it kind of, at first I was a little nervous that maybe coaching at that level wasn't for me, but I actually ended up staying. I went to Drake University, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But it just really gave me a deep appreciation for the game. And
Yeah.
I don't like to really, I think it's tricky to kind of compare different time periods of playing to other time periods, because your time is kind of your time and there's nothing kind of like your time. We had things that previous
Generations
teams
and players
before us
didn't. Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
and that's how things should evolve. Like, everybody should always
Yes.
get more
Yes.
as time continues to move along. But more than anything, it just grew my appreciation for the game, and I wanted to stay really connected to it in some capacity or another.
That's awesome. And when you talk about that connection to the game, and when you talk about the commitment that you saw from the people around you, those other coaches and everything, one of the things that I recognize from working in athletics was just an appreciation of the grit and determination of the people who are doing the work. And I'm talking everybody in the enterprise. I'm talking, there's this guy that worked at Nebraska behind the scenes setting up chairs and tables. His name's Steve Torsky. I mean, this guy had to go set up the bleachers in Devaney every time you all played, right?
Yep.
And make sure that was ready to go, make sure the lights were on. There's just so many people who are committed substantially to making sure that what they get done gets done so that the whole thing can work.
Yep.
And I think in coaching, what's amazing about that is that it's so indicative of great teams that are championship caliber, that everybody does their role really well.
Yep.
And everybody wants to, essentially overperform in what they do. So if you're preparing that game plan, you need to do the research to the extent that you understand specifically that 75% of the time she's going to go left, right?
Yeah.
But 25%, you got to be ready if she goes right, right? I mean, there's that intricacy and that commitment. And I think that it sounds like you were right where you needed to be, because that type of discipline was something that you had grown up with.
Yeah.
That type of commitment, that type of follow through and determination was something that you had consistently been committed to over the course of your life. And so it just manifested that you being around high performing people and being a high performing person, that's where you should have been. So talk to us about post Nebraska. So you're here as a GA. Tell us about your journey after that and where you get your first official coaching job.
Yeah. So I was lucky to just kind of move up 80 and not be too far from Lincoln at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. And I was there for 3 years. I had a really incredible time there, but my life kind of took coaching there was amazing. I loved recruiting there. I loved my coaching staff there. Jenny Baranchek is now at the head coach at Oklahoma.
Okay.
And she's done exceptionally well. Everything she touches kind of turns to gold. So she and I are still very close to this day, but I actually ended up getting pregnant and lost a baby on a recruiting trip at 6 months. And that
my goodness
experience kind of rocked my world and kind of was the thing that led Clyde and I to come back to Lincoln, which kind of led me to my time at Lincoln High. And so it was a blessing in disguise. It was a really painful situation that we went through, but it ended up turning into something beautiful and me being able to impact a lot of lives back here in Lincoln. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, I'm very sorry to hear about that.
Thank you.
And, just the fact that you were really pushing yourself and kind of in the midst of your professional world, and then all of a sudden this happens, and you decide at that point, was it a pretty immediate decision that
It was pretty immediate.
Okay.
Yeah, we got pregnant again right away, and I just felt like I needed to be in a different
Yes.
space professionally.
Okay.
It's, college athletics is grueling, and
It
it's
is, yeah.
very demanding, and so I just wanted to come back home at that point.
Mhm.
And so an opportunity with Pete Ferguson and federal programs at Lincoln Public Schools kind of presented itself, and so
Yeah.
I took this role as what's called a navigator, helping kids that had dropped out of school
Yes.
re-engage back into high school, became available, and I just really hopped into that and threw myself into it completely.
Okay, so year-wise, are we right around 2016, 2017
Yes,
then?
you're
Okay.
so good.
Okay, no, because I know you said your son was 8, and
Yep.
so I'm just kind of doing some backward math here. So around 2016, 2017, and you're back in the school system that you graduated from. Essentially, you're not at the same school, but you're back in the school system, and perhaps you're working with students from across the district, right?
Yes.
And so, what was it like for Dominique to step back into Lincoln Northeast
Yeah.
at that point in your life, where clearly you've gone through a lot of things, and
Yeah.
and you're back though, and now you're on the other side of it. You are the very role model we were talking about earlier, in that you have been the young Black girl from Lincoln, Nebraska, who went on and played D1 and has coached at the D1 level as well, right? And now you're back here and you're inspiring the next generation. What is it like to walk into Lincoln Northeast at that point?
Yeah, it was kind of surreal. I worked with so many incredible students who had such unique and diverse experiences and stories, and it was just really humbling
Yeah.
to be trusted with so much, and to build relationships with kids from all across the city, specifically at Northeast as well.
Yes.
But it was just a really eye-opening experience, and something that I don't take for granted. I met so many incredible kids that were just trying to get themselves over the edge.
Yeah.
And we kind of talk about changing those trajectories, understanding maybe not early on how important education was then, but
Yes.
grasping that now and knowing how necessary it was to kind of move their lives and propel themselves forward.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you're back, you have 2 degrees at that point. You're supporting the young people and helping them to try to understand kind of, you're really going to need this education thing. And when you were talking earlier about those challenges of your freshman year in college and some of the academic, nuances and things that were happening at that point, that happens to so many students across the spectrum. And I'm telling you, like, students who are, straight A students get to college and struggle.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Dominique is here playing Division I basketball and doing all these things and being, really depended on by her family still in her city, and also having to do the academic thing, right?
Yep.
And so, the fact that people struggle that first year, it's almost expected. But when you're really excelling in everything that you do and you're committed to excellence, you find a way through it. And so, how do you use those experiences when you're back here early on as a navigator? How often do you open up and share any of those challenges with people? Because sometimes people edify the people when they come back to the community, like, oh, you've gone out and you've gained all this wisdom and everything else, now you're a sage, like, how do I learn from you? So how did you impart that wisdom to the next generation?
Honestly, I just try to be a good listener and to kind of meet them where they were. I think there were things about my story that really resonated with a lot of the kids that I worked with. I lived and grew up in similar backgrounds as they did, and so that kind of instantly gave us a connection.
Excellent.
But from there, it's just being a good listener and trying to understand what it is that they need and where they feel like they're coming up short.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to kind of help them compensate for those areas.
I see. Excellent. And so, how long were you a navigator? And talk to me a little bit about what were some of the persistent issues that you were seeing that were impacting the youth here in Lincoln as you moved through that profession?
Yeah. So obviously attendance, but the big component that's probably not talked about enough is mental health.
Yes.
So many kids struggling with their mental and emotional health, and not having families that are always very supportive of that
I see.
and not understanding how to navigate that was a real challenge of the work that I was doing.
Yeah, yeah. And, you talked about mental health, and you were kind enough earlier, to mention, about the importance of the relationship you had with your sports psychologist during your time at Nebraska. And so it sounds like mental health has also been something that you've been able to at least dive into from the perspective that you've been able to seek support when you've needed it.
Yep.
And gain something from it.
Yeah.
Right. And so you, as an individual who's been able to really benefit from that, could express to them that although there is a stigma sometimes, especially in our Black community, around getting mental
Yes.
health and, this concept of maybe telling someone else the secrets, you can let them know, hey, this is a really positive thing and it can help you.
Absolutely.
And you, at that point in time, also being an upstanding, person in that community, can talk to their parents too about that.
Yeah.
Right. And so, do you feel like you were able to have a really positive impact as a navigator?
Definitely. It was a new position. So there were things that kind of, we were growing through all the time, but
Yes.
loved my time as a navigator, loved my time working for Pete Ferguson and federal programs.
Yeah.
And that experience shaped me quite a bit.
Outstanding. And so, talk to us a little bit about this transition back into coaching. And while you were a navigator, were you doing any coaching on the side? No. So, okay. So talk to us about, how do you end up being the head women's basketball coach at Lincoln High?
Yeah. So Mark Larson, the principal at Lincoln High, called me one day and said that they needed a girls basketball coach. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to coach at Lincoln High. They've historically been terrible. It has not gone very well. But one of the things there was I was going to have to teach.
I see.
And so they wouldn't let me stay in federal programs and keep coaching. And so if I was going to go coach, I had a teacher.
Okay.
And I said yes to coaching and said yes to the teaching gig. And it was really awesome.
Wow. Okay. And so give us a year of when that happens, that you go into being the full-time head coach of the Lincoln High Lynx women's basketball program.
Yeah, it was rough. There were lots of habits, lots of very decorated basketball players, but lots of kids that had habits that just were not great. Lots of things we had to coach through, and I had to be very consistent and persistent.
Yes.
To break those habits. We didn't show up to class on time. We didn't come to practice all the
Oh
time.
my goodness. Okay.
We didn't have a lot of family involvement and support. And so those were just barriers that we were constantly battling, probably, honestly, my first 2 years at Lincoln High.
Wow. Wow. So having to really reshape that program, change the culture, right? And when we talk about high level athletics, people throw around this word culture, but culture is such a pervasive component of an amazing team, but it's also a pervasive component of a team that doesn't excel, right?
Yep.
It's almost like even people who are high performers can come into a space where there's a bad culture and underperform,
Yep.
right? Very much like somebody
Yeah.
who's an underperformer can go into a great culture and overperform,
Yep.
right? And so you're here at Lincoln High and you're having to methodically go about changing some of these habits and these expectations and really asking more of these young women who have decided that they were going to sign up to play basketball. So
Yeah.
what did that feel like to be a person who had played for great coaches, coached with great coaches, was a great player herself? What was it like to have to really revive this program?
Yeah. It was really challenging. I think the first thing that I had to stop doing was trying to coach them as I saw myself. I think I spent the first year or two doing that, like coaching them the way that I thought I was as an athlete.
Yes.
One of the best things I did was hire my high school coach, Rich Olson, to kind of be a mentor for
Okay.
me. And so he was with my staff for those first 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
And that was super influential to me, but I had to do that first. And then I had to meet them where they were at in order to start breaking down those walls and those barriers and starting to kind of combat some of those challenges that we were going through. And I had to create space for them to trust me also.
I see.
I wanted to be on the same level with them in a sense so that they knew
Yeah.
that I respected them and that I was willing to run through a brick wall for them the same way that I was asking them to do for me.
I see. Wow. Wow. There's a lot of great jewels there. Ladies and gentlemen, you were listening to coach, mother, outstanding player, just all around good human being, Dominique Kelly Johnson on 93.7 The Ticket. We'll be right back after this.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service, bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did.